Let's have a quick round of introduction to the QuizAcademy and do a quick walkthrough and a demo to understand the basic features, how it works. So first of all, what is QuizAcademy? So QuizAcademy is a quiz-based learning and assessment system. It's not only learning and assessment, it is much more than this because it does cover the virtual school scenario, which makes it a ideal case for a smart class. It also hosts PDFs, videos, web links. So anything which can be accessed on the web, it can be also hosted along with the structure. Now let's quickly look at it, as a basic user, how how the interface is, how it can be used. So to start with, you go to quizacademy.org, which is the main component, a main piece, which is an online learning portal. Now you have pretty obvious. You can just log in to start using it. It's pretty much free, so you can sign up for free, or you can simply log in with a login ID which you might have created earlier, or you can also ask for a forget password. Now, you can also use your Facebook account to log in into this, or if you're in a hurry, you just quickly want to see how it works, you just enter it as a guest. So let me see how it looks when I get into a guest. So right now we are running it on a 2G network, so and I think there might be some slowness, but I think that's also one of the strength we are trying to show, that it can work on a very minimal bandwidth. So as you see, we have entered as a guest, and it gives us access to all the public all the courses which are listed here directly. You can just get into the course, like I'm getting into a 9th class course. It has all the subjects of this course. I can simply get into a subject and I get all the chapters. These are all in for Hindi medium, so you'll see they are in Hindi, and you click on any of them and it will just start the quiz. You play the quiz, at the end it will allow you to do a lot more thing, but we'll look at it in detail a little later. Let's go back to the dashboard, which is our landing point. Other than these courses, you can also search for a specific course or a subtopic or even a study link here. Like for example, right now I'm going to try something in, let's say, Hindi first. Let's say I say Vigyan and see, again a little slow because of the 2G, but still reasonable enough. So you see, you got a subtopic, 43 subtopics which are part of science. Even the social science also comes into this because it does the textual search, or you have a 80 study links also. So let's look at how study link looks. So these are all PDFs of different, so they are primarily the lessons as published by NCERT. Let's see if there is something else also. Okay, we have few web links also, and we also have a Wikipedia link which was suggested by the users itself. Okay, you click on any of them. Let's say I simply go and open a book. It will simply open a book in a new window. I can do as many as I want. Let's say I open a web link also, so it'll take its own sweet time to open the book. But you can see you've got another web link. Now these are all user suggested. So I'll leave it to them to kind of load it in this thing. I'm going to dock it down so you can see these links are pretty much available here. You can just open them, make them big. Like for example, I can just maximize this, put it down. Alright, so there was a quick and very quick look at how some of the study links can also be used, but there's a different way how you access these study links, so we'll come to that a little later. So right now let's quickly see that what do we get when we are not guest and we are a legitimate user. So I'll show you the screen. So let's say now this is where I've logged in as a proper user. Here this is my ID. You can see not only courses, but there are my test section here and my assignment sections. So it means as a valid user I can get access to things which are assigned to me, practice here as per the schedule, see the report, which pretty much looks like this in terms of how my kind of activities were. So that pretty much we're going to cover it a little later, but then you can see that as an individual I get some assignment, or as a part of a class I can get an assignment. Now another interesting thing which will give you a bigger perspective about QuizAcademy is that I've got another menu here which is MySpace. It gives me, I think it's already there when you log in as any user, you will at least see my reports, but because I have more privileges, so if you are having a privilege as a teacher into a school or an admin, you'll see manage also, and manage allows you to create, kind of manage your school, create a class, create quizzes, create assignments, monitor it online. It also allows you to kind of review the content created by other users, and you can go back and look at it what all you have reviewed. We'll cover that again in detail later, but then this gives an idea what all you can do here. Now search is pretty much same in all the same scenarios. Now let's look at how so we have seen that for learning you can use quizzes, and we've seen for assessment you can use tests, and how the report looks like. Reports are pretty detailed. You can just keep saying and then we'll kind of come back later. Now let's see how it can be used as a smart class. So I'm going to manage, I go to the school. So I'm one of the few who has the rights to create school, but most of the, because I'm a super admin, but once a school is created and a teacher is assigned, I think he can manage his own school here. So you can see some of the real schools which are leveraging this for past few months, and I'll select one of the school, let's say one in Udaipur, which was part of Project Utkarsh. Again, interesting thing is these are the teachers who now have the privileges to create classes and add students for this school and give assignments. To add any teacher, probably it's you can see all the names are coming in. I can just select in and I can simply add here. Right now I'm not getting into any changes. Now once you have a school, you can create as many classes as you want. Like for example, I'm trying to create a new class, so it just takes me here, it selects me for which school I want to create it, because I have entitlement for all these schools, so that's why they're showing it up. So a teacher will see the school which he's kind of assigned to. So let's say, assume I'm assigned to this. You can give whatever name it is. Let's say class. Let me change the mode of my thing. Okay, class 9A. Okay, year 2014 2015. So you can just give it a more friendly name so that it doesn't get confused with a lot of classes. In QuizAcademy, you can give review in this. You can tell what is the start date. So I'll say, let's say this is started on 1st of June and it's going to kind of end till, let's say, 31st of May. So I'm giving it, oops, let me give this quickly, 31st of May 2015. So I'm giving it a 1 year. And okay, blah blah blah, I create a class and then you can start adding the student. So let's say Lakshmi Kant, he's part of this school. Then Raj, Pierre Raj is part of this school. Sorry. So that's how you can keep adding. You can change the class. I'm going to skip this and allow you to have a look at one of the existing classes. Again, one for Betla. So you can see this is a class 9 for Betla. These are dates, and then these are all real students who have been using the assignments. Now once I have a class, you go ahead and create custom quizzes. I'll show you how it looks. Simple, let's say an online practice test. You can see there are 30 questions which are created in this. Now these questions are actually picked from here. You can add as many questions as you want. Let's say I pick one of them and I click on this. It will just list down all the questions. I can just select whichever question I want in my set and I can say add. So you should see now 2 more questions which I've just added. Ignore some of these things. I think you won't be seeing very soon these kind of errors. Now once you have created this, all you have to do is assign it as an assignment. So I can go ahead and create as many assignments. So first, before I'll just show you some of the assignment. Let's say, okay, so this is one of the assignment which was already in progress, so I can't update. But what I can do is I can quickly explain you what it is. It was assigned to a class, for a workshop which we did for one of the engineering college, and then you can just pick up few filtering points that what do you want to assign. So any of the name quizzes which you have created, which is custom quizzes, you can assign here. So whatever has been assigned just comes over here. You can give it a name to the assignment. What type of assignment is it? A test or is it a quiz? If it is a test, it will come as a proper assessment, or if it is quiz, it will come as this. Then you can say how many questions are going to be there, what is going to be the start time, when does it expire, so that it doesn't remain on. And you can also decide the questions should come into the sequence or random order. Now other than this, especially for quiz, we also have a closure criteria, that how many times the quizzes should be played and what should be the minimum score the person should hit. So you can actually do some kind of intelligent tracking of the activity or planning of the activity, so that people don't just keep attempting it without thinking. So, like for example, here this practice says that student need to play at least 4 times. 4 times student need to do this the quizzes, because there are a lot of questions. So every time randomly a different set of questions will come, and then he need to get minimum 100% once to make it complete. So if even in 4 attempts he don't get 100%, the assignment will remain open on the dashboard which we have seen earlier. Now, as a teacher, how do I track? So all I have to do is just say track status. Again, mind the speed. It's still running on a 2G. Alright, so I can see what happened in this. So minimum number of turns were 4 and minimum percentage was this. And I could see that around 85% of the students, which is 34 students, completed this. 2 not started, and 4 of them started but did not complete, which means they did not meet the closing criteria, though they did at least minimum one quiz has been played by them. And I can clearly see who are the people who have completed, started, not started scenario. So that gives me a clear view without asking students that whether they have been doing things or not. So it's been a good control back to in the hands of the teacher. Now going back to and these assignment was once it is assigned, I think by now you must have figured it out. It just comes out and remain visible here. Now these symbols, you can see this is a class assignment, and these symbols, basically these are individual assignment, which means it's been assigned to an individual rather than to a group. Other than this, we have review and my review, which will come later as part of introduction. Now let me introduce quickly a very powerful kind of feature which we think is a different dimension into the QuizAcademy. So which actually takes it beyond just quizzing and makes it more powerful as a learning, and that's called study links. So let me quickly show you. So like earlier I was showing the study links here. You see, now I'll go it. So that was done through the search, but now I'm going to show it to you in a systematic way. So let's say you are a teacher, you're let's say English teacher for class 9. So you go to the class 9 course, then you go to English, and then you have all these things. Now you see 3 different icons here. Now the last icon, which is an arrow icon, is nothing but play the quiz, which is same as hitting on the name itself. The second item, which is now publicly available, which is a book symbol, that is study link. So let's look at that first. So when I click on study link, it just gets me all the books or any related material. Even if I have no clue, I can hit on this and it will give me at least a Wikipedia link for this particular topic. Okay, now I click on this chapter and then chapter will be open. Now let's say I'm also a teacher of geography, which is called Bhugol. Let me go and I think and let me look at the study links here also. Okay, so I've got a book in Hindi and book in, basically it's a PDF file which is a chapter for this particular chapter in English as well as in Hindi. Okay, so this is where you see one of the user has added suggested study link. So let's say I find something interesting and I want to add. All you have to do is suggest a link, and then you can just give it a name, choose what type of media it is, give a URL, choose your reason of submitting it, whether you found something better than existing media, whether there was no media in this category, so you're adding something, or additional related media. Once you submit it, it will reflect in your my suggestion, but also it will go into the review queue of one of our reviewer, and he will review that the submission by the user is really appropriate or not. If it is appropriate, he will approve it. If it is not appropriate, he will reject it. In any case, because something which you have submitted will always be visible to you, like a lot of these submissions are through me, so I can always go back and look at all my submissions and see whether they are approved or not approved, and like something I may have something in pending status. So all these approved will be visible to everyone who's going to use this, so they are publicly available, but the one which are pending or in some other status will only be available to the person who has submitted, like me, and others will not be able to see it. So this way I can, as a teacher, I can enrich the learning experience for others by submitting some good URLs, good videos, simulations, articles, images. For example, like this is one of the image. Now, so while teaching, I can clearly go maximize this, make a smaller window, minimize this. This is my English chapter. Now I can actually go back and continue to study my English. I said, okay, this is my first book. I start the quizzes. So I can have my quizzes running here. I have my reference books or material, as many as I want, lying here or lying here. So I can choose to decide how I want to kind of, bring the clarification. So some of the material or subjects like maths or science, it's very handy that you parallelly show some videos or simulations while you are actually trying to solve a question, or to create a context using the quizzes. So that's pretty much how the study link works. It's just that now it is open for everyone to contribute. So anyone who's a logged in user, a valid user, will have a privilege to add study links. So you can add study links. You can go back to your lane, and you can also look at all your contributions. Okay. Now, other than this, there's one more icon you see here, which is a plus sign icon. Now, this is something which is only and only available to the users which have a privilege, minimum privilege of subject matter expertise or a teacher. What it means is it actually allows you to add content from here. So I'm looking at this particular topic and I see there was one important question which was not there, or there was one important concept not very well explained. I want to add few questions. So I actually have a privilege, because I'm a teacher, to go ahead and add questions. This is my sample question which I want to add. Option 1, option 2, option 3, option 4. So I can have as many options as I want, but limit is up to 4. So there will be minimum 1 option and maximum 4 option. If options are more than 1, then you will see multiple choice. If there is only 1 option, then the question will be displayed with a text box. It's similar to the fill in the blank kind of thing, without any option shown, but you need to type in. Now I have these things. I can just say, okay, this is my option. Now I want to see preview quickly how this will look like on the real interface. Okay, I'm satisfied. This looks okay. I need to just fix few things. How it looks. Okay, it's a question, so let me add something. Alright, there are more options. You can add a picture. You can actually make it, let's say you can make it bold also. And see that it's really working that way. So whatever you try here, you can see that you can actually do complex formulas. I'm going to skip that right now. It's too advanced. But you can add pictures, you can add videos, you can have sound embedded, or you can have a very sophisticated formulas. And you need to rate the questions. Let's say I rate the question to 3 or 4, and then I go back and say add. Now this question is successfully added. It will be reviewed and approved before making it public. So this question has come. So you see a lot of other questions are there which I've added earlier, and you see some of them have the formulas also. So good. Here I can show you. These are some of the complex formulas. They are displayed in a completely different way. Now I can go back and edit it because it is still not reviewed by the next level, but rest of the others, they have been reviewed and pretty much active, so I cannot go back and change right now. So once you have this will go for a review, and then somebody else other than the one who has submitted can review with the same privileges or higher privileges. I'll quickly show you two more things. You can actually have because we've been doing a lot of work in Unicode, so you can have, especially in Hindi, so there is a converter, and then there's one more thing where you can actually decorate your, it's a visual HTML editor, so you can actually do this, use this, and you can also make all these formulas, so you can get an idea of what kind of formulas it supports. So I can create all these kind of formulas. I can embed all these formulas here. Okay, and this is your converter. So this is how you can add a question. So the question which has been added will be displayed in the review section of somebody else other than me, and once he approves, it will be available to the user. So let's go and look at our dashboard. So you see a new 10th class which is not available to others, but only certain people with the privileges can see, because it's a work in progress and we can contribute. So let me see the one which I have contributed, science, and I'm gonna run this. So this is one of the quiz. You can see that when you have a wrong answer, it tells you what is the right answer. Okay, here we have one example where we have been able to embed some of the complex formulas. Even in the options, this is the wrong answer, so it tells you the right answer. Right, so this is how now we have seen that. So let's do a quick recap. In QuizAcademy, I can use this section or this section to find the right places where I can go and learn and do the quizzes. All my tests and assignments will be displayed here. So as a teacher, I can create school. Once I'm a teacher in a school, I can create classes, I can add students, I can create quiz set which I can use as assignments, and those assignments will be visible to the students here. Once they are completed, I think you will be able to see the reports. So that's the one part of the learning, and then assessment part, and third part is smart school. So the smart class, so where you can actually manage the smart class workflow very well. Next is from a teaching perspective. We have seen study links, a very important aspect. You have a social feature where you can add your own study links, you can contribute, and that be going through the proper review process before making it public, but it will be always available to you as my suggestion. So and you can open as many as you want. So you can open as many, 1, 2, this is my third one, as many windows as you want, which could be video, Wikipedia, PDF, web link, images, whatever can be accessed through the web, you can actually put it over here. Simulations, and then the latest new feature is where you can actually, with certain privilege, you can contribute the content also. Like the study links, you can contribute a content which will again go through the process of review before making it public appropriately. I think this should give you a reasonable idea. Now I have a quick view in terms of, so when I see my reports, it actually gives me the list of a quick report of all the quizzes which I have successfully completed playing. Okay, so if I have left in between, it might not consider, but it will tell you. And now this tells you your this will help you understand how you have been doing in various subjects and how your practice has been. Even someone as a parent, you can, when you see it for your kid, this kind of report, let's say I'm just filtering it for JavaScript, okay, the one which I at least practice a little bit in a more serious mode rather than testing. And you can see that whenever you start a new chapter, you start with the low, and then slowly consistently your score goes up, which means that your understanding of the content or concepts around the content is pretty much improving. And then once you hit consistently 100%, you know that this is the time to move on to the next chapter. And that's how we suggest some of the student to kind of practice. So this is one of the very simple and crudest report. From an analytics perspective, you can see this is another report, which is your test report. This is what you get to see when you click on this particular report, is this, and you can see it tells you your duration, it tells you percentage, it tells you score, it tells you the time which you have taken to complete it. So first of all, it will give you an idea what is an overall score you have, right and wrong, other way around. And even if there was something which you could not attempt, because sometimes in the test we don't reach to the end, so if you have missed on that, it also captures that as a not attempt, and differentiates between whether it was not attempted or not reached. Now, in the overall analysis, you can see by subject it can tell you, it tells you in which subject you scored how much, and in which subject you did mistakes and how much, which is very important, significant, because it tells you, like, this person in Sanskrit has 8 questions wrong out of 10 questions, so 2 are right and 10 is wrong. Another one is maths, only 6 is right and 4 is wrong. So it gives a kind of idea that how the person is doing. Now it also gives you a quick view in terms of where all you scored, and not only from a subject perspective, but also it tells you which chapter of the subject. So when I was looking at, let's say, maths, so these are the 4 answers which I have achieved. So in chapter 10, chapter 8, chapter 3 and chapter 12. So these are 4 chapters from which I got a right answer. But this is not sufficient, because our objective is to have a report which is not an kind of assessment only, it should be a diagnostic, so that looking at the report you can figure out where all you need to improve, and then where all you need to practice more. So let me just quickly look at something like let's say science I'm looking at. So now, earlier we were looking at overall, now this is science. So each subject I can look at similar kind of detail, right and wrong. Then by chapter I can see in which chapter I got correct answers and in which chapter I could not do well. So this clearly tells you where you are, and I think this is the important statistics, because wherever you are not able to score, you know that you need to work a little more hard. And I think this graph gives you a better picture in terms of the areas where you are not able to score or areas where you have been able to score. And it is up to the user, by looking at the quantum of the questions he's been not getting right, he can decide whether this is an area where he need to focus. So I'm going to look at 1 or 2 more, let's say maths. So it gives me clearly idea about which chapters I've been able to score and which chapter I've been able to not score, and that tells me that where should I put the more focus very clearly. So this is how, for all subjects a person will be able to see a deep analytics or deep kind of the key data statistics, so that he can conclude on his for himself that where he need to work more and where he can be a little more relaxed, or what areas are actually working for him. More number of tests gives you the better pattern in terms of one, whether consistently where you're doing well or not. Second, whether you have been showing a positive improvement rate or not. Alright, with this I'll stop here, and okay, thank you.